Let's try some more conditional functions. Next two functions are SUMIF and SUMIFS. SUMIF and SUMIFS are the combination of sum function and our if condition. So basically we are giving a conditional while doing the sum of the numbers. So what arguments we can provide to SUMIF function? We can provide three arguments to SUMIF function, that is range, criteria and sum of range. So we have this third argument in the square bracket. So this is indication of the optional argument. So it is our choice whether we want to apply SUMIF function with all three arguments or we want to go with only two arguments. We will understand its usage with example. It sums the values in a range that meets the criteria. Next is SUMIFS function. So what we have in this, we have multiple ranges as well as multiple criterias. So let's try SUMIF function first. So I'll be taking the same data set which we tried for other conditional functions as well. So I have this data for these indicators name. Let's try SUMIF function with three arguments first. So I will be writing here equals to sum. Before applying SUMIF function, let's try sum function. So in sum function, what we do, it adds all the numbers in a range of cells. So I'll be starting the bracket here and will be providing the numbers. So it is my choice. I can give all the numbers in writing like this, comma, and the third number, comma, fourth number, comma, and similarly I can do it for rest of the numbers as well. So this is my choice. The other way, what I can do, I can select the whole range like this. So as it is, we are working in the table, that's why we are getting this kind of indication for the entire column. Once I have the range, and then I will be closing the brackets here and enter. So I will be getting here some of the numbers here. Let's try SUMIF function now. With SUMIF function, what we are doing, we are adding the cells specified by a given condition or criteria. I will be starting here my parenthesis and the first argument is for the range. In the case of the range, I am providing this indicator name column. So this range has been provided here. Next argument is for the criteria. So I will mention here quick ratio as my condition. Quick ratio as my condition. So what we are doing in this example, we are getting the addition of those values which are mentioned against the column name quick ratio. After that, I will be providing the range, that sum range, that for that range I want to have the addition of the numbers. So this is my car1 is my sum of the range. I will be closing the brackets here and click on enter. So in this way, I got the sum for the quick ratio. So we can see here quick ratio is 400, quick ratio is 200 and 400 plus 200 is 600 and similarly we are getting here results here. So we tried SUMIF function with three arguments. Let's try to do it for any other value as well. This time I will try it for current ratio. So I will be changing quick to current ratio. So make sure you are not writing any equals to or any other symbol here. You're just writing the value. If it is text, you will be providing it in the quotes. So we are providing here three arguments. One is for the range, the second argument is for the criteria, and the third argument is for the sum of the range. We will be trying it with the two argument as well. Before that, let's see some other examples of SUMIF function. I'll click on enter. This time I'm getting 400 here. So for current ratio, I have 300 plus 100. That is equal to 400 and we are getting result here. Similarly, we can try for other values as well. This time, let's try it with maybe income this time. So we are replacing the condition here. We are matching with another text this time. So we get this 6,000 as we are having only single value for income and that is 6,000. So we have a condition now. Rather than having the addition of all the numbers in provided range, we can give our own condition and accordingly we can have the addition of the numbers. Similarly, we can give any other condition as well. Let me try it with a different range. So we will be writing here SUMIF and range I will give this numerical values this time, and I will be matching it with any other number. Let's do it with the 500. Now the criteria is, the condition is like we have given in the if and else. Similarly, we are giving condition here that this range should be equal to 500. Only then we will be doing the addition of the numbers, and for the addition I am picking up the column February 90. So this range is assumed as sum of the range. Let me close here the parenthesis and I will be clicking enter here, and I got the result for all those values where my this column quar1 is equal to 500. We can change the numbers as well. Let me copy this formula to another cell. Here I am getting the result, and maybe I can change the values here to, let's do it 6000. So we got this number here. Maybe in third cell I'm copying it again. This time I can give any other value. Let me give 300. So in this way we are getting the addition of the numbers for the provided range with the three arguments according to the given condition. We tried it with the text as well, and we tried it with the numbers as well. And according to our condition, we can have the addition of the different numbers. But this time what we are doing, we are combining sum function as well as if function. So SUMIF function is a combination of these two functions, and we can have the addition of the numbers according to our choice, according to our requirement. Now let's try SUMIFS function. So what we have here, it sums the value in a range that meets multiple criteria. So let's try example with SUMIFS function. This time we need to give multiple ranges. Before that, what we can do with the same SUMIF formula, let's try it with the two arguments. So how we can give two arguments here? Just go back to the definition of the SUMIF function. Here what was mentioned, that it is taking three arguments, that is range, criteria and sum of the range. And as sum of the range is mentioned in square bracket, so this argument is optional. So this time we are doing the addition of the same range only. So criteria is again for the same range, and we are doing the addition for the same range as well. So what we are doing here, we will be writing SUMIF function with two arguments. So range will be the same as sum of the range. So this will be holding at same value, and condition here we will be providing. Let's do it for maybe 6000. So as we are having only single value here, so 6000 is the answer. Let's try it for any other value. Let me mark it 500. So here we are getting the addition of the ranges, which is for the 500. So 500 plus 500 plus 500 is 1500. Similarly, we can have it value for any other number as well. So if we have the range is already equal to sum of the range, in that case what we are doing, we are using only two arguments for SUMIF function. Otherwise we can go for the three arguments as well. In case of the three arguments, what we have different range for the criteria and different range for the sum. Now let's come to the SUMIFS function. Let's read the definition given by Microsoft Excel for SUMIF function. SUMIF function with S says that adds the cell specified by a given set of conditions or criteria. So we are having here multiple conditions now. You can see there sum of range, criteria 1 and criteria range 2, and again criteria 2. So let's try that now. Here thing we need to remember is that sum of range, the range we are providing here is the first argument. Then we are giving the criteria for the range 1 and similarly for other argument. So what we are doing here, let's go back to the definition again so that we will understand the difference between these two functions again. In case of sum if function, we first have the argument for the range, then for the criteria, and then sum of the range. In the sum if is function, we are trying the multiple conditions and we are giving the range for the sum in the first argument. Then we are having the criteria for the range 1 here, and the criteria 1 is written here. So for then we are providing here range again here. So let's try it with first time with single condition or single argument. Let me give the condition first. Let's have the sum for this February 90. So I will be providing this range to this function, then comma. Now the range for the criteria 1. So this should be this argument. we are taking as indicator name as the first criteria range, and now this should be equal to, let's have here again quick ratio. I will be closing it. So this is my condition now. So just again reiterating the same concept. What we are providing to the SUMIFS function, first we are having the sum for the range, then criteria range we are giving here as indicator name, and then I'm writing the criteria, and that criteria is quick ratio. So it is my choice. If I want to give only single criteria, I can close here the parenthesis and I can go for the formula. What if I want to have another condition as well? In that case, I will be putting comma here. So again, we will be starting from giving the criteria range 2, and in this way let's take quar 1 as what the another range, comma, and it should be equal to 200, or let's take it for the quick ratio, it is 200. Yeah, let's go for this and I will be clicking here. So we are getting here output as 1.47. So we gave two condition here. The condition was that indicator name should be equal to quick ratio and quar 1 should be equal to 200. In that case, we have two values for quick ratio. One is 400, one is 200, and we are, the condition is true for this column and the value here is 1.47. So there is nothing another any argument or any second or third value so that it can have the addition. That is why it is returning 1.47 as the result of this sum if s function. So it is up to us. If we want to add one more criteria here, we can do that also. So just go through the formula once again. We are giving here some if s function. First, we are giving the range for the addition of the numbers. Then we are providing a criteria range 1, and then the condition that it should be equal to. Similarly, we tried for the another criteria range and the condition here. In this way, we are setting multiple conditions for addition, and then we are getting the resultant here, sum if s function. So what we covered here, we covered some function in the previous week that was having the addition for all the numbers, whatever range we are providing here. Second function, sum if function, is combining the condition of the if and addition of the sum. So if the condition is true for that particular provided criteria, only then addition of the numbers will be performed. Otherwise, other numbers will be discarded or ignored for taking the addition of the numbers from that range. And when we are having SUMIFS function, in that case we are setting multiple criterias for adding the numbers from that given range. And for, let me go back to the slide. In case of SUMIF function, we have two or three arguments. So what we can do, we can make the same value for the range and sum of the range. So it is up to us. If we want to have a different value, in that case, we can go with the three arguments and have the values for the sum in a range that meets the particular criteria. That criteria we are providing here. When we are dealing with any string or text, in that case, we are putting that condition or that criteria in quotes. Otherwise, for numbers, it will go in the same way in the without quotes. And with the SUMIFS function, we can give number of arguments. First argument will be considered as the range for the addition which has to be performed here. The second argument will be the criteria range for the first. And in the third argument, we will be giving the criteria for that value. It should be matched. And this is similarly, we can have the second criteria and range, third criteria range, fourth criteria range, fifth criteria range. So that is up to us. How many nested things how many times we want to condition our addition of numbers, and accordingly we can pursue our application with the formula. This is, in this way we covered sum if and sum if s function. So this is again part of conditional function. Till now what we have covered, we have covered how many functions this we are covering under conditional functions. So we have covered if function with logical test. So it is again we are matching it with the SUMIF function. If we have condition here, if this condition is true, we will go for the second argument. Otherwise, we will go for the third argument. And the same work we are doing in the sum if function and sum if s function. Nested if we tried, where we are using the multiple if functions. Similar formulas we tried, if s, if error, is error, and not. And after that, after covering if s function, if error function, is error function, we checked it for errors and we covered not function and SUMIF and SUMIFS function. So we can combine these functions as well. We can use nested functions as well. So I can use this if function inside some if function as well, or maybe I can go for the vice versa case as well. So this is up to my requirement, how I want to have the answers, how I have to do the analysis, and accordingly I can formalize the function, different functions.